Well, today I've got a good friend of mine. If you've ever wondered why I've got such nice teeth, it's because of my dentist, Anthony Gray. And I'm glad he's here today. We're going to have a great discussion.
You know, 15 minutes, section 1, section 2. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Do you have a short attention span?
I sure do.
How short is it?
I'm not sure, but I know I just have to move on. It's almost like my job is perfect because you do 15 minutes here, 15 minutes here, 15 minutes here. If it's a long procedure, I usually have to come in on the weekend.
So if it's, why is that? Because you got so many customers backed up, or you just can't?
Yeah. I think just to give that time so I won't be interrupted. I want to stop this, then go over there and go over there. So if it's a longer procedure, a surgical procedure, or doing a cosmetic procedure, I just don't want to be interrupted. And but generally, I heard a sermon years ago, and it said, the tailor-made God. He'll give you the tailor-made job, tailor-made spouse, all this. And I started thinking that, that dentistry is the tailor-made job for me, just because, I go from one room to another, to the other. And I'd have a hard time sitting behind a desk.
So where do you think your attention span? Why do you think it's so short?
I'm not sure. I mean, that's a really good question. I don't know how that came about.
Been that way your whole life?
Yeah, pretty much. I think I've had a lot of therapy, of course, but I think survivors sometimes have to keep their mind busy so they don't have to focus on what's going on in their life. So I think I've learned to keep my mind busy.
So it's like a defensive mechanism.
Yeah, or it can it can even be a surviving thing that if you slow down enough, you may have to think about certain things you don't want to think about. So if you keep your mind busy here, and then you have to keep your mind busy here and here.
Is that tiring?
It can be. It can be, but I think the thing's most tiring is when you age. You just don't have that energy. But I think you're more productive.
On the courthouse square at 30 2nd Street is the law firm of Logan Thompson Law. Since 1965, they have served the legal needs for the good citizens of Cleveland-Bradley County. If you've got a problem, they're no problem. Give them a call.
Do you think your energy has gone down?
Well, yeah, I'm pretty sure I'll be 60 this year. So
is that right?
It has, yeah.
Well, he don't look 60, does he, Gwen?
I feel, starting to feel a little bit my body. I can't get the weight off like I used to be able to. So it's kind of staying.
Did you use?
I've started to get a couple extra chins over time. I noticed that.
Well, you don't look. You look like maybe you're 15 pounds heavier than you were.
Yeah, well, actually, I'm quite a bit more, but that's what I'm saying about energy. I wish I had energy to, after a full day's work, to go home, exercise, or just get on the treadmill for 20 minutes. But sometimes after work's over, I sit down for 10 minutes and I don't have a lot of energy.
Are you just wiped out?
Not completely, but then I have a 4-year-old that needs my attention. So after you do those father things, yeah, you're pretty.
I've seen her on Facebook. We've almost chronicalized her. She's really getting mature now, isn't she?
Yeah, that's her mom. Her mom puts about everything on Facebook. But her mom's from Indonesia, so that's the way she stays in contact with her friends.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
So that's more of a thing her mom's doing.
She's enjoying the basketball, isn't she?
Yeah, she did great. It's crazy. I mean, crazy. She never even had a basketball in her hand.
And I don't see her as the sport type, but she is. She seems to really enjoy that.
Yeah, it's just natural. If you look at her form, shooting, I mean, it's like flawless. And she would warm up for those games, and I mean, she'd make like 6 in a row, and just it's kind of like a natural. So,
Did you suggest basketball, or did she suggest it?
Well, it's at the Y. So whatever they have for the kids, we sign her up for it. We sign her up for soccer too coming up.
So whatever they have is.
Yeah, that's what she's gonna. Yeah.
You go to the Y. Have you been going to the Y a lot?
We have been now.
Because of her.
Now. Yeah. So sometimes I play pickleball. I started playing pickleball about 3 or 4 months ago.
Is it fun?
Yeah, it's great.
I can't
It's
seem
great.
to get into that.
I don't know. It's fast paced, and you don't have to do a lot of running. And when I would drop my daughter off to play basketball, they'd be warming up, or we get there early, or after the game, we'd put her in daycare over there. She loved the daycare. My wife and I could play, but most of the people were my age, if not older. And it didn't seem to be overly competitive. I don't want to do something that's competitive.
Like basketball or something.
Yeah, or just where you're really trying to win, or you're playing with people that are overly competitive. I don't like that.
I saw her as a sort of the artistic type, because when we go eat, she would be drawing or looking at pictures or that sort of thing.
Yeah, it's hard to say, but she likes the arts and crafts with her mom. Her mom is always doing things with her, and so we'll see. It's just nice watching her to develop.
Yeah, even if she doesn't stay with it.
Yeah, and she's artistic. It was strange, but we did coloring with her, and there was this penguin, and she's about 2 years old, okay? And she had these little toy penguins, and they were black and white, and then around the beak it was orange. So she was coloring this penguin, and I mean, she found orange and put a little bit right up at that beak, and I thought, whoa, I thought that was pretty advanced, but that was in her head. I'm just kind of fascinated watching her think and how she's developing. I think that's one of the best things about being a parent,
She doesn't seem to be, she seems to be happy with what she's doing, or she doesn't seem to need a lot of attention.
Now, she is when it's time, but she's around a lot of adults, and she's very patient. And we had Brandy Day the other day. It's for
What is Brandy Day?
And she went with us, and she never complained one time. I mean, we were going from 8 till 4:30, and she never complained, never needed to stop for attention, or we were giving her attention throughout the day. But she was complacent around adults and just really mature. For a poor 4-year-old, even when she's younger.
Is she's not in kindergarten yet, right? She's still.
Well, she went to pre-K, and then she'll be in kindergarten next year. We had to meet the kindergarten staff, so we did that a couple of weeks ago. So here I am walking into meeting the kindergarten teacher, and I'm like, I know I'm older than the kindergarten teacher's parents.
When did we all of a sudden become older than?
It just
have you ever noticed that? It was like all of a sudden we're older than.
It just hit me.
All of a sudden I was older than the cashiers. I've noticed.
Yeah. It just I know I had some issues, so I had to do programs. My life got a little crazy, and when I came back, I think I turned about. I don't know the years there, but I think I turned about 50 at that time, and one of my patients had asked me, she came as a little girl, had asked me to go to her wedding. And that's when it first hit me. That's when it first hit me that I had aged, that I had reached a different place in my life. When I started seeing the patients that came as kids, getting married and having their own kids.
And seeing, like at church, I'll see some kid, and it'll be the child of a guy that I knew their daddy.
Yeah. Yeah, that's when it starts hitting you. And I call it like I have a grand patients now.
Golly.
So I have a patient that the mother came in when she was pregnant with the child. So she had that child, and that child became my patient. And now she's bringing her. Now she's got 3 kids. So I guess those kids would probably be my grand patients.
Are you still closed on Fridays, or which day is it?
Half a day.
Half a day.
Yeah, every other Friday we work half a day.
So Brandy keeps up with the schedule?
She's the boss.
What is Brandy days?
Well, the day that Brandy was hired is
Which was about...
Brady's my office manager.
Yeah,
for
she's the boss. I'll testify to that.
Yeah, you know that part in the Bible says where women shouldn't have authority over a man.
Yeah,
it's because of Brandy. I think that's what the Bible had in mind there. It was for Brandy. So she's the one with authority at the office.
Yeah.
But she was hired March 15th, 20 years ago.
20 years ago.
So we celebrate March 15th with the staff. We call that Brandy Day. And so they just show up, and we go do things. They don't know what's going to happen to them. And we call that Brandy Day. So it was Brandy Day 20, which was a couple days ago.
So 20 years ago. She doesn't like a lot of attention either, does she?
Well, not like she's afraid I was going to embarrass her.
Yeah.
She's afraid I was going to embarrass her, but she kind of deserves it a little bit too. But there's been times where a school bus will show up, and they have to go in the school bus, or a limo, or.
Can you imagine a school bus?
Yeah. One time I had them put on these safety vests, the reflective vest or whatever, and I got them all the Elmer Fudd hats, you know, the Elmer Fudd hats, and I made them put those on, and then took them out there. School bus pulled up in front of the office, so they were all getting on the school bus, and I was behind them. And then I faked them out like I was going to get on, and the lady we had like an 80-year-old school bus driver. It might have been 90. And shut the school bus, shut the doors, and took off.
Where'd they go?
Well, they ended up in North Carolina. So they ended up in, they went past Ocoee. I gave them I faked them out. I told them they were going on act like a scavenger hunt. So I had all these envelopes and things like 1, 2, 3, like 4 or 5, like they were like clues and stuff. And I just put stupid stuff in there. I just put stupid stuff in there. So I told them, okay, in 20 minutes, open it up. But before then, I had Holly open up this envelope and read this story. And it was a story about in California where those guys kidnapped a school bus. And they were holding the kids for ransom, and of course, you know, they never knew about it. I don't. Do you know that story?
I've heard it. Yeah,
which I think it was just the anniversary.
I watched it on TV.
Yeah, not too long.
Yeah.
So I had the Wikipedia article. It was about 3 or 4 pages. So Holly was reading that, and they were afraid that they were going to get kidnapped on the school bus. And then they started opening up those clues and trying to figure it out. Oh, you know what? And then they meant nothing.
And it was nothing.
No, I had poems and just different things. Yeah.
Do you got a pretty big? I mean, most people have been with you for a while, right?
Yeah. Let's see. Brandy's been there 20 years. Anita's been there 20 years this year.
Was Brandy? Did Brandy come when the office was built? Or prior?
No, it was after that.
After.
Yeah, it was.
How much? Not much after.
No, about 2. Yeah, you built my office. Yeah, you built my office. Yeah. Just fantastic. Yeah. I never had any problems with it. Never had any problems.
Knock on wood.
It's
too late now.
I guess the tornado or whatever came through there. We had, with the roof, but no, never had any problems. And then you built the office next to me too.
That's right, Dr. Brown.
They had you. Yeah.
Well, I hadn't seen or heard from him. Have you?
No, no, I haven't. But Holly's been there 15 years, so I think I just get out of their way. I just...
You just want to do dentistry.
Yeah, and I think, like, if something happened to me, that they could get another dentist.
I'll tell this story.
Yeah.
I was sitting at home on a Friday night. This is a true story. I don't know if you remember it. But I had just gotten a Pizza Hut pizza. I sit down, I'm getting ready to watch the show, and I bit into it and chipped my tooth.
Pizza.
And I said, oh, good grief.
Yeah.
So I texted you and said, well, I've chipped a tooth. I guess I'll be coming in to see you Monday.
Yeah.
And you said, do you keep touching it with your tongue?
Yeah.
And I said, yes. And you said, I'll see you at the office in 10 minutes.
Yeah.
True story.
Really?
I drove to the office.
Yeah.
You fixed the tooth.
Okay,
I was back in my chair.
Yeah.
This is a Friday night, like at 11 o'clock.
Finishing the pizza.
Finishing the pizza. I didn't even
Still
reheat
warm.
it.
It was still warm.
That's a true story.
I did not know that. Yeah, I did
Do you
not
remember
know.
that?
No, no, I don't. I don't remember. I remember the bad ones. Yeah, I only remember the bad patients. I can't remember the good ones for some reason.
No, my cousin's wife, she had something, she had to go there on the weekend, and she said you were playing Kiss or I know AC/DC while you were working.
Oh yeah, well that's some of the best things.
Yeah.
Especially if you have those difficult teeth to pull
Yeah.
out. Highway to hell. You get highway, and they come out easier. I don't know what it is. You put it on, and it just comes right out.
When did you decide I'm going to be a dentist?
That's a good question. I figured you were going to ask me that on the way over here. But I had a lot of dental work done when I was a kid. We grew up I was born like in Eastern Kentucky, and then I moved up to West Virginia. But my mom made sweets all the time. She could make fudge. I mean, I've seen her make fudge in a microwave. Mm-hmm. And I've seen her visit people, and they're like, hey, make us some fudge. And boy, she's getting out marshmallow cream out. And she would just keep a plate on the countertop of fudge. And I could take a spoon and just scoop it up, and go down there and have a couple of spoons. Mm. And I just had really bad teeth.
I mean, like a lot of cavities?
Yeah, a lot of cavities. And I lost baby teeth early. Mm. So they took me, we had moved to West Virginia at that time, and they took me to the University Hospital. The director of the pedodontics program took me as his own patient. He just had a handful of patients. And so I had to go up there for a lot of work. And then they referred me from there to an orthodontist. And the orthodontist took an interest in me. And and my dad encouraged me too. And I thought, that would be good because, I just kind of have to stay active. I know I could use my hands and stay active. I knew at an early age that just sitting there and, reading something and all that just wouldn't be me. And the orthodontist one day, I don't know if I was in junior, I might have been in high school. I don't think I was driving yet. I might have been in high school. He came to my house. He every other week, he took a day off and worked at the dental school, which is about 40 minutes away. And he picked me up at my house, and he drove me up to the dental school because he was going to lecture and cover clinic. And he had me meet the right people. I met Dean Alberico, assistant dean. I met another student. They gave me the tour. I mean, they treated me like I was a king. Showed me everything. Here's where you do this.
And you're not even driving.
No, just a kid. And then my brother was in college at that point. So my orthodontist took me out to lunch that day too. After all the tours, so first time I ever had cheesecake. Mm-hmm. He told me, you got to get some cheesecake. I didn't know what it was.
Yeah.
I didn't know what cheesecake was. I never had it. First time I had cheesecake. And I'd say this is, 1980, 79 maybe?
Maybe
yeah,
79.
78 maybe. Mm-hmm. And so Dr. Wilfong's his name, J.B. Wilfong. And then after that, I went to visit my brother. He was in college there. And so it's probably about 79 or 80. And then he took me home. And on the way home, he said, you don't have to make a 4.0. He said, but you want to do good. Don't make anything less than a 3.0. But enjoy your college too. You're only in college for a few years. Enjoy it, and you'll have a good chance of getting in. Mm-hmm. And then, I went to college, and I went to apply. So I applied early. I'd only been in college for 2 years, but I'd done decent. And I I said, I'll apply for early admission. So I was 19 years old, and I went in for my interview, and there were two guys across the table, and they said, so why do you want to be a dentist? I said, well, I think it'd be better for me. I can use my hands, be active with my hands, and, use my brain, and, help people. And he goes, really? He goes, they go, what, do you know any dentists? And I said, I know Dr. Wilfong. And they go, oh, they look at each other and go, oh, yeah, you know him? What do you talk to him about? I said, skiing. And they said, oh, you talk to him about skiing? And yeah, and they looked at each other like this, and he goes, well, you know what? We need some more skiers around here. So you're in. And I was just like, whoa. I was like, whoa. So that was it. That was my dental interview. So I went back out in the hallway, and they got people were waiting, and I knew some of them. And they go, how'd it go? And I was like, tell them you're a skier. Tell them you're a skier. Yeah. So that was it. And then I got in, and I've always had personal issues, things I just, some abuse in my life, I didn't process it well. And you don't understand that, so I didn't stay in dental school very long. And so I took a couple years off. And then I reapplied. That was at West Virginia, and I got in at Kentucky.
What'd you do during the time you?
Well, I went to the beach, and I just tried to get my head straight. And I went back and took more classes. Since I got in early, I didn't have the advanced science classes, histology and the anatomies, so I was behind anyway. So I just prepared myself better, because I wouldn't suggest anybody get in early without those classes, because you got to retake them.
Yeah.
So all the people I was in school with had already taken some of those classes. So I was really unprepared too.
Did you feel behind?
Yeah, when you're in class and, they're showing pictures of histology is what organs look like under the microscope. And they put this thing up and you see all these red dots and everything. And the guy beside you goes, liver. I'm like, how does he know that's liver under a microscope? And I'm like, how did he know? Well, he'd had it before and I didn't. Liver has like hexagon shapes.
So you had to.
So I went back, but I finally, since I left school, I didn't do as good. I was embarrassed, so I didn't. I was embarrassed, but let me tell you what happened. Last year, I went back for my 40-year class reunion. I went back to the dental school, and I tried to look for Dr. Wilfong. And I found him. I found him. And when I called him up, I about couldn't get the words out. I just couldn't. It was just here, And he goes, it's okay, it's okay. And he goes, you're going to make me cry. But I just thanked him. I mean, he took time out for a kid. I'd already had my braces off. There was nothing I could have done for him. But he took time out, and I just have so much to owe to him. I mean, it's just amazing. Just he didn't have to do that.
Your life could have taken a whole different turn.
But that just like completely changed my life. Completely changed my life. And it's tough. It's tough talking about. But when I called him, he said, well, how old do you think I'm going to be? And I was trying to figure, I know how old I'm going to be. And it just stopped me for a minute, because now I got to figure out how old I am and how many old he would be. And we have the exact same birthday. I didn't realize.
Is that right?
Have the exact same birthday.
Which is the 12th or the 9th?
Yeah, 12th. So I called him up for his birthday and wished him 90th birthday. He'll be 90 years old. So I just need to stop everything and just take a trip up there, and see him again. And his son's a dentist. He's a couple years younger than me. And now his grandson's a dentist.
Do you think he took an interest in other people that way? Was he just that kind of guy?
He's just a great guy. Yeah, he's just, and the staff he had, the way he was with the staff, I saw the way he was, and that's what I always wanted, and I finally have it, but that he modeled that. He wasn't trying to, but he was kind of modeled for me. I can still remember his office man. Or the lady working back was Karen, and we talked about, that was over 40 years ago. I can still remember, some of his office.
You probably remember more about it than he does, because it was more significant to you.
Yeah, Yeah, I'm not sure, but he did have a little MG parked beside his office.
Which is
And
which
I
is
did-
ironic.
Yeah, well, and I told my dad said this. He said, Anthony, you see, and my dad said, you see what how his life is and the way he works with people. He said, you'd be good at that. And I started thinking, like, yeah, and I did have a good enough personality, to relate to people that way, and you kind of use some humor. But he said, I want you to look at that car over the next time you go over there. And I looked at it, and it was a little two-seater convertible. And he goes, if you're orthodontist, you might could have a little car like that too. And then when I finally got my own dental place, I was there for about 6 months. I went out and got a Miata.
You still got it, right?
No, I wish I did.
When'd you sell it?
I went through a couple of them. Yeah, the last one just got kind of bad shape, and I gave it to somebody. But I wish I had it. But it's tough. It's tough when you have kids to have that.
It is. It's
Yeah.
hard to put the seat in the back.
Yeah, you can't do it. Hard to put three.
Do they
three
still
people
make the Miatas?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
I hadn't seen any.
See, I used to have a Fiero when I was in college. Do you remember those?
I don't remember Fiero.
That was fantastic. It was like looked like a wedge of cheese. It was almost like it wasn't convertible, but you could take the sunroof off and put it under the hood.
Yeah.
Had a little place for the hood. Yeah. When I was in college, I took that thing to from West Virginia to Myrtle Beach with 2 girls I was in college with.
But when you went to the beach for 2 years, what possessed you to go back?
Well,
could you have just stayed on the beach?
Well, I went to the beach for a few months, but then I thought I need to get back, and I went to summer school at Marshall for a little bit. Well, I just knew that I didn't have a plan B. I didn't have a plan B. I just knew, and I think being a survivor all your life, you just know. And I was a hustler. I was just gonna do it.
Don't mess with a survivor.
No. Yeah. Yeah, and that's yeah. And then you have to but then later on in life, I found myself in rooms with all these other people that were survivors. I finally got in those rooms.
Do you think we're all surviving in some method, just different? Or do some people not have that torment?
Well, that's a good question. I do know there's certain levels of abuse, and some people don't have those levels. But see what happens is when you're a kid, you don't know any better. That's your normal.
That's your normal.
Yeah, that's
the hardest thing you've ever done is the hardest thing you've ever done.
Yeah. So you don't. Yeah. It's just it's a little hard to put in words, but the brain is amazing, and so your brain finds ways to survive, and some of that can lead to certain addictions too. And so I got into all that community, and you meet these people, and just different ways. You want to make sure the way you're coping it is a healthy way and not an unhealthy way. And then
people have.
I used to remember when I was a kid, I liked sports and like the baseball cards, basketball card. I used to win these sports trivia contests. There was a rib place when I finished dental school. I went back and they had this rib place. I got a job at the VA. I went to dental school in Kentucky. I got a job in the VA in West Virginia. But there was a rib place there. Excuse me. And they had these sports trivia on Thursday nights. And it would come up and ask these questions, and you hit,
at
whatever.
the table.
So, yeah. I used to win it all the time because, I knew that trivia because I was that little boy in the corner escaping life with my back to the door and looking at these basketball cards. And, Wilt Chamberlain went to Kansas, and then I saw, I knew where they went to college, and I knew all that. I have a hard time remember people's names, But if you show me a 1973 basketball card, I'll probably tell you who that is. You know what? And what
Well,
team
why
he plays
is that so significant?
well, wait, it just kept my mind busy, and it got me away from everything. Yeah, and then
What is it the Bible says idle hands are the devil's workshop?
yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I didn't have too much trouble with the devil, getting the devil until later on in life when you realize, you know what's out there. It's the knowledge, and what happened is, and this is what I tell people. Adam and Eve, they ate the apple, so now they have the knowledge. Mm-hmm. And later on in life, I got the knowledge of knowing when I have a bad day, I know where to go to have a good day. And you start developing this knowledge. And then if you start using that over and over, you can put yourself in danger with those things. And I got to the point where I just get on an airplane and...
How does a person stay sane?
Well, yeah, it is, a spiritual thing. You do have that peace. You do have that peace. But, I used to evangelize. So I never lost that. But when you have so much coming at you from different directions, it's a little. I've had to deal with a lot of, a lot of hate, and mainly from Christians.
Why
the Muslims have always been pretty good to me.
I wonder why so many Christians are so critical.
Yeah. I just think it's. I think it's their foundation. They just judge. I think that there's so much of an emphasis on self-righteousness, and to me, it's just a big self-righteous contest. We're more self-righteous than you are, and you're not self-righteous, and which is just like a pile of crap. I'm a bigger pile of crap than you. Because self-righteous means nothing. Self-righteousness is a filthy rag. So some people are bigger filthy rags than other people, but they actually put their identity in being a filthy rag and all this self-righteousness.
It's almost like they want to be. You're not in our club.
Yeah, it's a contest.
Yeah.
It's our rules and regulations are better than your rules and regulations, and you don't keep our rules and regulations. And so I've really rethought a lot of this stuff, and I think that's unhealthy for people. I think it's about relationship. Man looks at outward appearance, but God sees the heart. I think God is really more interested in our heart than he is our behaviors or our appearances. Jesus even said, prostitutes and sinners will enter my kingdom before you. Well, prostitutes and tax collectors. Prostitutes, they don't have the best behaviors. But Jesus said, they'll enter my kingdom first. Okay, because, it's not about self-righteousness and the behaviors.
It can't be.
I don't think it is. Now that of course that angers some people. It angers people that have put all their being and all their trust in their own behaviors. I think Jesus' behavior is the only thing that saves you, not your own. And I used to preach on that. I used to preach on through one man's sin where we all condemned, which is Adam's. Through one man's righteousness have many been made righteous. You're condemned because of what Adam did. You're born into this world as a sinner. Your condemnation doesn't come from what you've done. It comes from Adam, which I don't think that's fair because I want to earn it. If I'm to be condemned, let me earn it first. Let me go do these things.
Yeah.
But it says, through one man's righteousness have many been made righteous. And it says that Jesus' righteousness was imputed, transferred to us. So when God looks at us, he doesn't see us, he sees his son. We have that covering. I have a really good story to tell about that, but I can't
We can't on national television or even the discussion.
I keep it. It is, and someday I'll tell that story more. But yeah, and I've seen it throughout my life. I've seen those things. My dad wasn't a Christian until a couple days before he died. Really, he started having visions, and then he knew it was real. But he knew some things were real. But he finally told me why late in life. Because I looked bad at him. Because, you know, when you're a Christian, I always look bad at him. And my mom was, she was a bigot. She was raised Baptist. I heard she would use the N word. She used the N word even in front of her granddaughter's husband who's black. And she was just racist, and she just didn't have a good heart. And then over here, my dad, my dad said nothing racist, absolutely nothing.
I knew him. He did.
He's a good man. Yeah,
he
he
would
was
never
a good man like that. And then he finally told me why he wasn't a Christian. And he was raised in a coal mine in Kentucky, coal can. And he remembers the church there, and they would have sermons they would have church, okay, and they would open the windows in the church, and the black people could sit underneath of it and listen, but they weren't allowed in the church. And
that turned you against him, wouldn't it?
Well, yeah, he's just a kid. You talk about woke and stuff now. He's just a kid, and he knew that was wrong. He said, if that's God, no God would allow that or want that. He goes, I don't want your God. You know, and that's why, because those are the things that he saw.
But looking back, that was just that group of people and not
No,
Christianity.
I think it's pretty. If you look at the Southern Baptist Convention, they were formed because they were pro-slavery. That's why they formed.
I guess so.
That's in their DNA.
Racism is not dead, is it?
No, it's not. My wife's from Indonesia. She's dark-skinned, and my kid goes to the Baptist school down here, which I told the judge, if my kid goes to Silverdale Baptist, she's not going to have a father, because I'm not going to be one of them. I'm not going to go along with that. But I got text calling her creamy. Why is her
great?
Creamy?
Well, that would really irritate me.
And that's not the place for us. I told the judge, I protect my wife from that environment. We're not going to go to a school that is calling my wife creamy. So, you wouldn't put up with that.
No, and your wife and your daughter is both good looking.
Yeah, I'm not gonna.
You've married way past your. You kicked. What do they call that?
But who hasn't? That's what.
You kicked past your coverage.
Oh, way past. Yeah, way past. We were. It happens a lot now. People don't think we're together. So we were at Publix one day and checking out. And for some reason, Publix has the best service. There wasn't anybody to bag the groceries, and they always have people bagging the groceries there. So I went and I was bagging the groceries, and this young woman was scanning the groceries, and she saw me bagging the groceries, and she looked at my wife, and she goes, "Is he with you?"
It might be because she's a little bit younger.
Well, so I just went up there and mouth kissed her.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just went in there, gave her a kiss right in the mouth.
She's really a nice person.
She is.
Your wife. She is really nice.
She's humble. She's meek. She's very wise, spiritual.
Very aware of what's around her.
She is. Her wisdom is just. It's just amazing, the wisdom that she has in life. Just absolutely amazing. Excuse me. And she comes up with these sayings. In my country, they say this. In my country, and they're always wisdom. There's always these little sayings.
Are they similar to ours or different?
Yeah, but they're almost like way above ours. And there's so many, I can't keep up with them. And I'm just like, she tells me that, and I'm like, and I still don't get it. And I'm like, so tell me again, what does all that mean?
Indonesia is a real poor country. Is that right?
Yeah, I guess.
I've never been there.
World. Yeah, there's more Muslims in Indonesia than anywhere else in the world. But they're not violent. The white man never stole their oil. So they're not anti.
What is Muslim? Is that they still believe in God, right?
Yeah, I don't exactly know why. I don't know enough to make but they are. I think one Muslim man can have 4 wives. So you see the population of them growing more.
Oh, I
'Cause,
say, yeah.
you could have,
Yeah.
you could have, and I think that's why a lot of the reason why the Muslim faith is growing. I think it's through birth rate.
If Christians can only have one wife, but Muslims can have four, you doesn't have to be a genius to figure out what's
you're
going to
produce
happen in the
them.
future.
Yeah, but there are. I mean, they have been. I had a Muslim friend from here that I met, solid, nice, and then over there, my wife has Muslims in her family. Fantastic. She FaceTimes, and she'll get like be like 4 different people at the same time, and a couple of the women there will have their hair up, and they're fascinated with her now that she's in America. Tell us more. And
They think
all this
she's
stuff.
really.
Yeah,
Of course, it is probably.
kind of almost like this mini celebrity. Like,
Yeah.
oh, she's over there.
Yeah.
And, let's call
Which is
her and talk
probably
to
a
her.
real big deal to them.
For them, yeah. And I'm like, hey.
I mean, the worst life here is probably better than the life.
Yeah, it depends.
Maybe.
Of course, you had to have the pockets of wealth there.
Okay.
But a lot of them are. Indonesia has just a line of islands, and it's almost like each island has a different culture to it. But it's all in one country. There's some islands, Aceh, that has Sharia law. They're that Muslim, and then you have some like you go to Dinspar, which Bali is, and they're women are dressed at the beach, thongs and all that. So it's really really loose there. But
Do they have a? Do you have to have a passport to go to Indonesia?
yeah. But the city she grew up in, it's I think 10. It's like 3 times the size of Atlanta. So it's always she never drove. It's all public transportation.
We think we don't. We think everybody outside of here, besides the few big countries, are all third world.
Right,
But it's not really that way, is it?
No, you'll see. You go to the mall, and they'll have like 10 restaurants there, and like all of them have music going on, live music, bands or.
So it's not like everybody's shooting at everybody.
No, they have live music everywhere there, and you know what? They always ask for a request. So you know what I always ask them to play? I always ask, and they all know it, Country Roads.
Country? Do they know it?
Oh yeah, I mean all over the world they know that song.
Wonder why.
Yeah, it's just an awesome song.
John Denver.
Yeah, it's an awesome song. Yeah. Yeah,
It is an awesome
Yeah, I grew up in
song.
West Virginia. I mean, it's all over the world. We were at we stayed at a resort, and it was all Muslims. So you got them all over there in the buffet, and there's three guys being there, and they asked for a request, and I said Country Roads. They started right in it.
Do they speak English?
Yes, yeah. My wife speaks Bahasa too.
Bahasa?
Bahasa. There's many languages over there.
Do you speak Bahasa?
None.
None a bit.
It's tough. No, it's a tough one.
How'd you run into her?
Internet.
She seems to really be crazy about you.
Yeah. What I did was, I had issues there, and they were just making sure I wasn't going to mess my life up again, and so I had to see a counselor every month, and they were watching me close, and he says, "Well, it's time you start dating," but. Because of my abuse, sometimes you look for the opposite of your abuser when you're looking for a spouse or a girlfriend. And so the opposite of my abuser, which was white and obese, would be attractive, dark skin. Okay, so my therapist said, you're probably not going to find that where you live in this area. So people are doing it on the internet. And I had a friend of mine who had golfed with some guys that had found their wives on this internet site. So I joined it. And when I was on there, I said, what religion? And I put the religion, and it said age. And I remember my previous wife, who's younger than me, told me that real patronizing, like, you're not going to find anybody to take care of you when you go to work. I was going to take care of you. And we always seemed to say that. And just laugh, this baiting laughter and thing. And she said it so many times, I just kind of had it, You hear it. You
I'll
hear
show
it.
her.
Yeah. No, it's not that I showed her because I didn't think I was going to meet somebody. It's just in there. You know, hear it so many times. It's just in there. So when I was filling out age, I put, okay, 50, and I was close to turning 50. And down here on this one, it has like 40, 30, or whatever. And I thought, you know what? My ex-wife is 29. I was like, I'll put 30. And I thought, no, you know what? My ex-wife is 29 down. I said, I'll put 29. Okay. And then the one that came up was Sophia. And so I sent her a little message, and a couple weeks later, she sent it back, and we started going back and forth, and just kind of hit it off.
Y'all fit like a glove, though.
It's amazing.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah, it's just, and the key is spiritually. I mean, we are like-minded spiritually. But now I can tell you, when she comes by for lunch, I can tell you where she wants to go to lunch that day. I just know. And
Where she usually likes to go eat.
And she, well, no, we don't. We like to. We like to go different places, but I know she likes to go to the Fiji. Fuji,
yeah, that's a good place to eat.
Sometimes, but not always. Mm-hmm. But I can almost predict where she wants to go.
Me and you always go to Steak and Shake, don't we?
It was great. Oh, the Frisco Mounts. Oh my God, how great is that? Yeah.
How'd you get to Cleveland? I mean, that's got to be an interesting story.
Yeah. Well, I was back in West Virginia, worked the VA, and I just knew I needed to get out of, I don't know the popularity of dentists back there, but I just, it's not the best place for a dentist, I don't think, And so my brother lived in North Georgia, and I could get a license in Tennessee pretty easily. Georgia was more difficult. I'd have to go jump through all these hoops. And in Tennessee, I'd already passed the boards in the South and in the North, so there were several states I could go. And I made a phone call down in Chattanooga, which is as close to my brother as I could get, and I found a place. Mm-hmm. And then I was down there for a couple of years, and then I started going to a church up here, and I thought, it'd be good if I could just get closer to Cleveland. And a guy that sold dental equipment for Nashville Dental, he came in, and he said, we need to get you out of this place. Because the place I was working at, the staff just wasn't good. The dentist that was there, I took over his place. He had some issues and eventually committed suicide. Mm. He said, so we need to get you out of here. I said, well, find me a place in Cleveland. And he said, you don't want to go to Cleveland because there's a couple young dentists there. Well, he left there, it was in Hickson, and he drove to Cleveland, and he went to a dentist's office here. And as soon as he walked in, the dentist there, he was a young guy, says, hey, if you know anybody who wants to buy this place, let me know. So he went from Hickson, came right up here, and that's what the guy told him. Mm. So he came to see me the next day, and he told me, he said, this place is perfect for you. And I said, okay. And, I said my prayers. And I said, I just, because I bounced around a little bit. I just hadn't found my niche yet. And I said, God, just show me a sign. Show me a sign where I know that I don't want to be played around with. You know what I mean? I just tired of bouncing around a little bit. And when I came up here, it was on Key Street at that time, next to Intimate Secrets there. Mm-hmm. And then when I got out of that car to go in that dentist's office, I went to open the door, and I looked to my left, and I saw all that lingerie and all that stuff. I said, thank you, God. Thank you, God. I knew. That's it.
That's where we met.
And that was that was
at
it.
the dentist's office.
Yeah. And that was. Is that how we met?
Yeah, I came in there and I can't really remember.
But I knew I had got something built for me, and the subcontractors always told me, the next time you get something built, call D.
I think that was it. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and because there was a couple of subcontractors there at the place, and they said, no, next time you need to call D.
And that was a real small place too.
Yeah, very small.
I mean, you couldn't cuss a cat in.
And it just kept getting a little bigger and a little bigger until I had one lady come in, and she told me, it's just an old lady. She said, I was a preacher's wife, and my husband died, and I don't have any money. I said, okay, let's look. And I said, well, if you pray for my office, my Billy, I said, I think we'll be able to do this. And I'm telling you, I just know. I know today, I know it's like 30 years ago, and I know today that those prayers are still out there. I know it.
I believe it.
And it was like, I could just see it after that. You know, that's I think that's very biblical and scriptural. I know it.
You really believe there's a God out there?
Yeah, because, well, I've actually experienced it physically, and that makes it different. With the things I've gone through in life, and for the horrible behavior I've seen from Christians, I would just walk away from it. I was like, I don't want to be part of this. But I have seen it myself, and I have actually experienced it. And if it wasn't for those, I would probably question my faith. But I've actually seen just physical manifestations. I've seen demons come out of people, and I've actually.
People want to see the clock stop.
Yeah, that's what you told me. Or I thought it was like, I just want God, if you're real, make that picture turn this way. I remember talking about that before. Yeah, if you're real. But see,
if you look for that, you'll see it.
Yeah, but I've had some of those. I
have too. That's why it sounds like a joke, but it's really not, is it?
See, I had a really good friend, Del Barto was his name.
I remember that.
He came in as a patient.
He was a real estate agent.
I don't know if he was in construction for a while, but he was like 450. He was like, what, 6'3"?
And tall, too.
Big,
it wasn't
like
all fat, was it?
And his fit, I'm telling you, he's the biggest hand. And I remember fixing his teeth and just talking. He goes, let's get together. And the more I talked to him, he kind of like, he had Paul and Timothy in the Bible. And it's like God was his Timothy. And we started praying together. And I'd seen manifestations before, but I started seeing it more and more and more. And then I started speaking in tongues, and I started seeing it more and more and more. And then I started ministering myself. And that's when I started really growing. I was single, so I didn't even have television for months. And I would just get up. I'd pray in the Spirit in the shower.
So you didn't watch any television?
No. I wasn't a religious fanatic, but I was just praying more. I was just praying more and having that. And I never heard an audible voice of God, but you do start feeling that presence and hearing those things. And then when I would go pray, people would come up and get in line, and what I would say to them was, it was things that nobody would know about. I remember I was, and I started getting connected with the Hispanic churches too. But there's been, those experiences I can't doubt. I remember I was in Atlanta praying for this lady. It was a big church, and I was praying, and I told this lady, I said, "These words have come out of your mouth. This hurts so bad, I can't even tell my mom." And I remember her, she just screamed so loud and went like this, and just like fell to the floor. So something devastating had probably happened to her. And then I just prayed for healing, peace and healing and all that. And that changes somebody's life. God actually knows that I went through that. Here, like, where are you, God? Do you even know? But that was like God telling her, I know what happened to you, I'm here. And I just really got into that ministry. But now, I see how that's kind of abused in some churches too. People, I'm a prophet and all this stuff.
They even take that to extremes.
Yeah. And so now I don't know if it's even safe to function like that. I feel like, and I don't feel safe. I don't feel safe in church now, especially what I've been through at Silverdale Baptist. I'll never feel safe, after that.
It makes you wonder if you ought to just go to a small church out in the country.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it? Yeah. But I think my wife and I, we sharpen each other throughout the day. we're always talking about this.
Y'all ever fuss at all?
I mean, I don't know what I said that the other day. What have we ever said? I don't think my kid, she's 4, I don't think she's ever heard us raise our voices at each other.
See, I'm Italian. It's an art form with us.
Yeah, well, you're arguing and people think you're arguing and you're just talking.
Well, yeah.
It's just it. Did you see Moonstruck?
Did you what?
Did you see Moonstruck? Did I think?
No?
Oh,
Is that a movie?
Yeah. Oh my God.
I'm watching it tonight.
It's Italian. It's Italian.
Hey, let me ask you this: Who's this?
Because that's all I grew up with was Italians.
That's why we get along.
Yeah, that's it.
Who's this guy on the internet that you're always saying?
Lou
Trulio?
Lou Truppo.
Lou Truppo. What's
Well, he's a guy I grew up with. And he's always going to kick your ass. I mean, you just.
Is he alive or what's
yeah,
it?
Yeah, he's.
So he's always going to kick somebody's ass.
He's always.
So
I'll be. He lives in Ohio now, and I'll be talking on the phone. He goes, just a minute, and he's in his car while his wife's in the grocery store, and he'll go, what? He goes, just a minute. He goes, yeah, what are you looking at? What are you? Oh, really? You gonna? So he's in his car. He's going to get a fight in the grocery store there. He's basically my cousin Vinny. Did you see?
I saw that. Was a great movie. Wasn't it? It's the best movie.
I mean, we're sitting there. I went to watch it with some people from West Virginia. The whole time we're watching it, this was at the theater. We're like, oh my God, it's Louis. It is Louis. Because, Louis short. About that, yeah. But, it's... I took Louis to Scotland. We went to Scotland. I liked to golf, and I'd been to Scotland a few times.
Scotland?
So, when I was a kid, I loved to go golf. That's something I do with my dad. And the golf courses, they didn't move a lot of dirt with them. The holes matched the land, and I knew that's how they were in Scotland. They're not real manicured, and I remember watching the British Open when I was a kid. I liked the way people talk. So when I finally had enough money, I wanted to go see what these courses were like. So I had been there before, and I went back to West Virginia, and I had this St. Andrew's hat on. And one of my buddy Stevie said, oh, that's a cool hat, I like it. And he goes, I want to go there. And he goes, have you been? I said, yeah, I know a family over there. I stayed with them. I'd gone a couple years in a row. It was cheaper for me to go to St. Andrews than Myrtle Beach. Because I could fly over there, I could use my credit card points, fly there, stay with them, and then I had discounted golf. If I went to Myrtle Beach, I'd have to pay all that gasoline money to go there, then get a hotel and pay for golf. So I was going to St. Andrews every year, cheaper than Myrtle Beach. So Stevie sees this hat. He goes, yeah, well, let's go. I said, okay, we'll go. He goes, we'll take Louis. And I was like, okay. So we took Louis over to St. Andrews. So they're playing, and then the family I know, the father and the son are playing. And then, since I played it several times, I'll just take pictures of Louis and Stevie playing. Well, Louis and Stevie start fighting with each other over there, like the most famous golf course in the world. And they start.
You're supposed to be happy to be there, right?
My God, yeah, you're this, and I'm like, listen, it's not like we're in the neighborhood and riding bikes together, and now you want to fight. I said, come on, you're embarrassing me in front of my friends, and they're like, man, what's wrong with your buddies and stuff, and they're starting this West Virginia stuff, all there, okay. So we finally finished on the 18th hole, St. Andrews, the most. Jack Nicklaus is one there. Tiger Woods is one there. I mean, it's the most famous golf course in the world. And we go back to our bed and breakfast, and which is about a block and a half away, Carrington Club. We get back there, and Louis and I got a fist fight, and got kicked out of the bed and breakfast.
Who got in a fist fight?
Me and Louis.
Oh, you and Louis.
Yeah, we were just knocking the
And
table.
this is how long ago?
Knocking the tables over. Boy, I tell you, that's a good one. That's probably, let's see, 2007 maybe, I guess. I don't know.
But
right around. So I hadn't talked to him since then. And then I had my class reunion coming up and going back to West Virginia, and I thought.
So after y'all get back from the thing, y'all get in a fist fight, and then you don't talk.
Wait. He took a separate airplane on the way home.
It was
I
that
never saw him at
bad.
the airport. Yeah, I never saw him at the airport. Yeah. Which he probably wanted to kick my ass at the airport. Probably here we are in Edinburgh, Scotland.
Yeah.
Getting in a fight at the airport. Yeah.
So he wouldn't even ride back with you.
No. So I had to go back from my 40-year class reunion a couple years ago. So I called him up, and
Was he friendly?
Yeah, he was friendly. And so now he doesn't want to beat me up anymore. So what I'll do is like on Facebook, I'll put kind of funny things about it.
But what's the little men?
Well, here's what I have for that's part of my therapeutic. I got all these little men, and I'll start making cartoons, and I'll take pictures. I got tons of them. So I painted one that looks like him, and then I start. But everybody, we used to call him, or I didn't, but he said he looked like Barney Rubble, because he's like that. So I got this little Barney Rubble that's about that big compared to the other ones. So I do all those. Little D loves that.
He does. Yeah, he watches that.
Yeah.
But what does Lou think?
Huh?
What does Lou think?
He likes it. He loves that attention. Lou loves attention. Let me tell you, we went to a comedy club, and I'm telling you, by the time it's finished, Lou's on stage. It's just Louis. Everybody, wherever he goes, everybody loves Louis. It's just. They went to this KC and the Sunshine Band concert. Louis right up there.
He's up there with KC and the Sunshine Band.
It's just uncanny.
You know who that reminds me of?
Who's that?
D.W. Hogan.
Yeah.
We've got to mention D.W. Hogan, right?
Yeah.
Golly. How long's he been dead? 5 years? 10 years?
4 or 5 years, maybe. Yeah. Yeah.
Did you go see him much before he died?
Some.
He was
And he was still mad at me over something. He was still mad.
Who knows?
I
Who
made
knows?
him mad over something, but he was still mad. But man, he was great to travel. When I was single, he was great to travel with. It's crazy how many people. And we were at for people that know DW, he worked at Bowater.
Or so they say,
and he
right?
worked with Steve Sloan, who quarterbacked Alabama.
Yeah.
His father worked at Bowater too, so DW would go to the Alabama games with Steve Sloan's father. And then Steve Sloan, when he finished playing college, I think he won a couple of national championships down there with Bear Bryant. Then he started coaching. Well, Steve Sloan's roommate was Jackie Sherrill, and then Jackie Sherrill started coaching, and then so Jackie has this guy coaching with. So then they all kind of know each other, and DW got into all that.
But if he went to the game, he would be up there with the he'd be down on the field, right?
Yeah, it's crazy because I golfed with him at the country club one time. I was asked to play in the member guest, and I went there, and the guy that asked me to play he didn't show up to play the practice round, and DW's partner didn't show up, which was Corky.
McGowan?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So DW and I played. So
had you not met him?
No, never met him. So I'm just riding around with him, and we're talking, and we started talking about college football, and I like college football, and he said, which I got a good story talking about that, but he goes, where would you like to go to a college football game? Because I'd studied the Heisman Trophy and all that, and I said, well, of course Notre Dame, they've had 7 Heisman Trophy winners. So he came in my office like 2 weeks later, and he goes, okay, you got to pick out these. I said, what? He goes, right here. He had a Notre Dame football schedule. And he goes, I got a couple of games right here we can go to.
You thought he was joking,
right?
And
I said, we can go to these football games, I said, really? He goes, yeah, we'll go. And I said, wait, let me check. And I looked up there, and we found one, and we're at the Notre Dame football game. And then he goes, then he mentioned, do you know who Jackie Sherrill? I said, yeah, I knew who he was. Because I hated Jackie Sherrill because he coached at Pitt, when I was going to school up there. And he had Dan Marino, and then they beat West Virginia about every year. And he goes, well, I know Jackie. And you want to go to a game down there? and I go down there, and we're sitting there, and here's Jackie coming. And he goes, hey, Doc, how you doing? I was like, okay, Jackie. And he told me where to meet him at the hotel we stayed at the same hotel where the players stayed. He goes, at this and such time, meet me in the hallway at whatever. I was like, okay. So I'm in this hallway waiting here, and here comes Jackie. Just us two in the hallway. Nobody's on. And he had these sideline passes, and he goes, hey, you gonna take care of the old man today? I said, yeah, I will, Jackie. He goes, no, we can't have him get hurt here, dog. And I said, no, I'll make sure. He goes, don't let him get too close, dog. I was like, okay, that's fine. And so we went in there, walked, sideline passes, everything. And I didn't realize, I said, DW, I said, Jackie's really worried about you there. He goes, well, I got, those Gatorade tables they put in there? They used to put all these Gatorade boxes in. He goes, yeah, I got knocked over on one of them down in Atlanta. So I guess the play came this way out of bounds, and he got hit and went over one of those. Yeah. And I guess he said I had to go to the hospital, check my leg out or something. So I guess Jackie was afraid that was going to happen again.
I guess, yeah.
Yeah, so if the ball was down there, we made sure we were here. I had to move him around. And then we could go anywhere. The press box and Mississippi State, in one end zone, they have this like a kind of tower thing. And you could go in there and take the elevator up. And up there they had a buffet and seats and bleachers. So I would just go up there and sit and watch the game there, trying to keep DW silent.
Yeah.
And I would sit there, and there was a guy I always sat beside, this older guy. I just started talking to him, And then next game he'd say, "Hey, come on over," and I'd sit there and start talking to him. And he played at Mississippi State, and then I went to the buffet, and he goes, "Hey, are you friends with so-and-so?" I said, "Well, yeah, we always, we always seem to sit beside each other at these games." He goes, "Do you know who he is?" And I said, "No, I don't know." He goes, "His name's on this building." I said, "Oh, okay." I didn't know who he was. I didn't know who he was, but I guess, so when I asked one of the guys at the athletic department, I guess he played there and got into baking or something. But it was probably why he liked me, because, I didn't know probably who he was.
Yeah, because you didn't hit it, you didn't care.
And now I wish I wouldn't have known who it was, But then we were at Kentucky, and I'm under the goalpost at Kentucky, up in Lexington again. And this guy stands right beside me, and DW's over here, and he's looking this way, and he goes, "DW, what are you doing here?" And I thought, oh my God, here we are, all the way up in Kentucky. Yeah. So I was like, whatever. And then he would get us basketball. That man would get us. He was. And then we went to Notre Dame, and they played Air Force. Mm-hmm. So we went to the stadium. We had tickets to the coaches' banquet. Okay, we had front row. We walk in there and showed ID, and they have this big banquet table there, and they had different speakers. Dan Devine, the guy that coached Notre Dame, he was there, but about hardly couldn't walk. And the table right in the front had our names on it right there.
And DW wouldn't pay to do none of that, right?
No, I've never seen him.
No, he wouldn't pay for nothing.
No, it was all, I'd never seen anything.
I don't know how he did it.
Well, we after that banquet, we go over there, and we look at here, all the Air Force players are coming out, and we're looking at the stadium, and this white-haired guy comes over there. He looks up and he goes, "Hey, DW, what are you doing here?" I thought, oh my God. Yeah, he was a defensive coordinator for Air Force. Yeah.
He would come in here and just start walking around.
Yeah. He just well, let me tell you, we went to that. We went to at Notre Dame. They have thuses, what they call them, pep rallies, and they have different, people. Well, our tickets. He wants to sit right behind the athletic director. So all these people are coming up. I didn't know he was the athletic director, and all these people are coming up and talking to him, and they looked at him. We had to get up and shake everybody's hand.
Yeah.
Again, and then after they had Tommy Lasorda, who was a coach for the Dodgers. He was there, and he gave the talk. Well, all these guys had their hands around him in a circle, so they couldn't get through him like that. He goes, "Come on, let's go talk to Tommy Lasorda." I'm like, I'm not going to do that. I can't get through there. All of a sudden, I'm just sitting there. I don't know. I'm just checking everything out. Dick Vitale's over there. People are going, "Shoot the rock, baby!" All these students are on a Dick Vitale, and I'm watching him do that. I look up, I go, where did DW? He's standing up there beside Tommy Lasorda. I don't know how he got there. I have no idea.
It's a phenomenon.
I don't know. It's amazing.
And he wasn't even really likable.
No, it's just probably about the slowest person
He was
I've ever
the
been
slowest
around.
person.
Yeah. He fell in California when we were out there.
I bet he fell in slow motion.
Well, yeah, he fell and hurt his leg. So now, I had we had about probably about 5 more days with him out there, maybe even a week.
Mm-hmm.
And so now I'm with a slow cripple in California.
That'd be worse, wouldn't it?
So
Not
it's
even slow, but a slow cripple.
Yeah. How can you get slower than that? Yeah, it was. Yeah. So we went out to golf Pebble Beach, and he fell the day before.
I went with him somewhere. I won't say where it was at, but they had. They said that they were going to have finger foods, and he got mad because they called it finger foods, and would not go back because they called it finger food. I said, DW, I said, what does it matter if they call them finger foods? He says, well, they're just sandwiches. And I said, yeah, I know. That's why they call them finger foods.
Yeah,
he wouldn't go back
because
they called it finger foods.
Yeah.
He said, what does that mean?
Yeah. Yeah, he was. Well, he was the one that got me married out there. I went to when I was in California. We went to check in this hotel, and we went out there for a few. So I had to do laundry, and so I don't know if I should tell this story or not, but I went to get laundry bags, and then the concierge was there, and so I just started talking to her, and because by that time, being with a slow cripple for a while, it was tough.
Yeah.
And I was like, I just don't want to go there. You couldn't sleep because he's the one.
No, he's too annoying.
And I guess that leg was hurting him, and he'd go, whoa! I guess what I'm like. I don't know if he's keeping me up on purpose or not. Just being annoying.
Yeah.
But so I was down there, talking to her.
Yeah.
And so, she was attractive, and I didn't really, want to go back up there and talk to him. So I talked to her for,
So you end up marrying her?
Yeah, so I married her. She was attractive, so I married her.
Didn't me and you and DW go bowling one time?
Oh,
or was
couple
that
times.
somebody else?
No, that was it, because that was on my head. He won. He was so slow, and he would go up there, and it was just like he was just like aiming it just perfect. Yeah, he beat us.
Didn't we go to
Gene Officer was with us.
yeah. And we went to Nicky's. Didn't we go to Nicky's?
Yeah, and Kenny.
Oh, yeah, whatever
Kenny,
happened
the
to
homeless
Kenny?
guy. I haven't seen him in years. Yeah, Kenny.
He was
and
the
then,
first. He was the first cool homeless guy, wasn't he?
He was wisdom. It was just he would say things like, that were in the Bible, and like, well, man, how did he come up with that?
It was a little spooky, wasn't it?
Yeah. He told my dad. We were with my father and my mom, and Kenny and me. I forget where we went out to eat, and he goes. My dad goes, that story in the Bible there where they had that oven, and they were it was big enough, and there's 3 people dancing around in it. He goes. He said my dad was in coal, and he worked for Bethel Mines, which is like Bethlehem Steel. So he's been in the steel mills where there. He goes, you know how big a furnace would have to be for 3 people to run around in it? And Kenny looks at him, he goes, well, they had a 100-foot statue for the king back then, so they had to have been pretty big. And he goes, oh. I mean, he just had an answer to it there.
Whatever happened to him?
I'm not sure.
Did he just disappear?
I'm not sure.
Because you stayed friends with him.
He would go to Florida for a while.
Didn't he used to stop at a payphone and call somebody and you never knew who he was calling?
Yeah, I don't.
Never did figure
I
it out.
don't know a lot about his. I know he's from Virginia, there towards the shipbuilding place there.
But that's been, what, 15, 20 years ago?
Yeah, I remember seeing him in church and the way he would praise God in church, and it was free. His worship, he had freedom in his worship. Mm-hmm. And I thought, that's really how we need to worship God if we're not worried about how people are viewing us and everything. And I noticed his freedom, and then I went to the Bible bookstore, and he was sitting there. And it's a church now, beside Ace Hardware. And I said, hey, I said, you want to talk for a minute? And I sat down there and started talking to him. And,
He was real likable, wasn't he?
very, yeah, very. And he bowled that day too.
Seems like we went bowling.
And my
with him.
dentist friend. And remember,
no.
he would bowl. Remember, he would bowl as
Your
the thing
dentist,
with that.
your dentist friend.
Yeah, from down in Chattanooga. He would bowl as the thing would go down there. To
Oh
bowl.
yeah, he'd hit it.
Yeah, he would hit it
Yeah.
like twice. Yeah.
I bet I hadn't bowled since then.
Mm-hmm.
Let me ask you this:
It's just good.
how hard are you supposed to brush your teeth?
You don't. You basically want to massage your gums.
See,
Little tiny
I do
circles.
too hard.
Yeah, you want to do little tiny circles. It's like the floor. You know how you sweep the floor?
Mm-hmm.
You're sweeping the plaque away. So you don't. If you sweep the floor, you're not doing this to the floor. Okay, that's scrubbing the floor.
So you're talking
You
about
just
just
sweep it away.
very lightly?
Yeah, just sweep like massage. Sweep it away.
Do
Little
gum-
tiny circles.
Do recessed gums through hard does it grow back?
No.
Never?
No, and it'll happen. It happens naturally throughout life, usually too. Your gums do recede throughout life. So
I heard somebody say here a while back that recessed gums through brushing too hard would regrow, and you're saying that it doesn't?
no, I don't think it does.
Because
Sometimes you need a gum graft if it gets too bad.
well, how do they do that?
They usually take skin from the roof of your mouth and sew it down there to cover those roots up.
What happens if the roots are not covered up?
It can lead to tooth loss, and the teeth can get a little loose. Yeah, but I'll tell 20 people to go get one. Maybe 1 out of 20 doesn't.
I bought on the internet those real super duper soft toothbrushes.
Yeah.
They're real expensive.
I haven't given you the one yet.
Not this soft. These are just like
I haven't given you the electric one yet.
yeah, and I hadn't plugged it
What'd you
in
do with
yet.
that?
I
Okay.
still got it.
Okay.
I hadn't plugged it in.
Yeah,
I need to do that.
You can put.
I'm gonna do that tonight.
That's the best.
Are they soft?
Yeah, yeah. Or you can sell it at the next garage sale.
I'm gonna do it. I forgot
Yeah.
about you giving me that.
Yeah.
I have what it is. I bought those soft toothbrushes and I haven't gone through them. So you're saying it's just very.
Yeah, it's just you're just sweeping it away. Yeah, you just.
Do you even really need to brush your teeth?
Get the bacteria colonize, which is in the plaque, and then bacteria, they love sugar, and then they'll eat the sugar, and then their waste product is acidic. Okay, they'll use the bathroom on your teeth. You give them sugar, they'll use the bathroom on your teeth, and that's acidic, and it eats right through your teeth and forms.
So
decay.
sugar is what causes tooth decay.
Yeah, mainly, yeah. It's giving sugar to bacteria. And then if you get built up under the gums, your body treats it like an infection and sends blood to that area to heal it, just like any infection. And that causes your gums to bleed and leads to a bone loss around your teeth.
Golly.
So you just, that's why you need to come, get routine cleanings.
How often are you supposed to get routine cleaning?
Well, I guess they say 6 months because that's what insurance will cover. But bacteria will start to colonize before then. But, there are some people that have issues. We see them every 3 months. Yeah, just to make sure we stay on top of it.
What does a normal cleaning cost?
Yeah, it's a little over 100. I'm not sure.
Not bad.
I really don't know the prices.
Brandy knows that.
Yeah, I guess for some reason I've really tried not to be a businessman, more of a healthcare provider.
I'll say this,
I just
I
don't
built-
want to. There are some things that you can do to make more money, but if even if insurances cover it, doesn't mean you need it.
I built
that's
five.
Just the way,
I
that's
built.
just the way
I built 8 dentist offices.
Okay, 8.
You're the only dentist that cared about the equipment.
Yeah.
Everybody else cared about the wallpaper, the bathroom, the floor.
Stuff, yeah.
You could care less
Wanted to make
about that. You were more into, I want the right
You
equipment.
get that, yeah. Yeah. But it makes your job easier if you have the and it's patient education. I would I prefer, I think trust and confidence is huge. So I like taking a picture of a tooth and put it on the screen so the patient can see it. So they'll, yeah, I see it myself. Yeah, I see, it's changed a lot since I've been doing it. You know, I've been doing it over 30 some years. And I see where it's about money a lot of times. I'm starting to see a shift to that. But
More about the money.
yeah, we'll have somebody go over here and they're told they need 12 cavities, and I'll look in there and I'm like, I don't see any. So it's just.
How
it's
do you
just-
identify a cavity?
I know if the tooth is soft, teeth should be hard.
So if the tooth is soft,
Mm-hmm.
a soft spot, that's a cavity.
Usually, yeah, and you can see it on the X-rays too.
Was it look darker or
Yeah,
something?
yeah, it looks darker. So when you send an X-ray through there, if the tooth will stop the X-ray, you know, it'll show up white on the X-ray. But if there's a cavity, the X-ray goes straight through it, and it'll be dark.
And you got to get those. You got to grind them out and fill them.
Yeah, you just drill all the soft part out, and then put a filling in there.
How do you know when you've drilled all the soft out?
You can see it for one thing, and you can take instruments and scoop it out to see if it's still soft. So, and then sometimes, yeah, I try to save people from root canals, and if it's deep, we have materials which will kill the decay. So I don't mind leaving a little bit of decay in there and putting that type of filling over the decay, which will kill it. And then the tooth dynamic, it's alive. And so the nerve will actually build more tooth and shrink away from the decay. So I usually like to try, unless it's too bad, I usually like to try to give the tooth a chance to heal itself. And if it works, then I've saved it from a root canal. And even if it doesn't, and they may need a root canal 10, 15 years from now, at least I've kept that tooth alive for 10 or 15 more years. Because if you do a root canal, the tooth dries out and it can become brittle. So, you know, God made that tooth to heal. So let's just give it a chance.
So the tooth can actually heal.
Yeah, the nerve's really big inside the tooth. Okay, you know, when we're young. But as we age, that nerve shrinks up because the tooth keeps building layers of tooth. Okay. Well, when decay starts getting close to it, it speeds it up. So your tooth is walling off that decay. So I'm giving that tooth a chance to heal instead of going in there and taking it all out, hitting the nerve, and it's a root canal, and then a crown. And so I think it's what's best. I mean, we don't always get it right. You know, you can't predict how that tooth's going to behave.
But it's a shot.
Yeah, you give it a chance.
It's better than just grinding them all out.
I have somebody, you know, once every 4 years will get mad and say, well, you should have done to start out with. And I'm like, well, I did it to what I would do on my own tooth. But
That's where people get the old saying, he's long in the tooth.
Well, that's because as we age, the gum recedes.
It's not that
So
the
the
tooth's
teeth are
getting
not-
longer, it's just that.
Yeah, the gum's receding and showing more root. Yeah. And which is that's a natural part of aging. But you can speed that up if you're gonna.
Yeah, I've got to start.
If you're gonna, yeah.
I've got to start using that. The electric toothbrush, I'll probably put more pressure on that.
Well, it vibrates too. So you're dislodging the plaque.
That's all
back
you're
to-
doing, right?
Yeah, you're just removing it.
Is flossing real important?
It's only on the teeth you want to keep. Yeah, so just don't worry about it.
Is that important?
But yeah, the floss gets to where your toothbrush can't. Which
And
is at the contact of the
that's
teeth.
really important. That
Yeah,
important.
Yeah, but it prevents decay. And, you know, gum disease too. So, yeah. I'm big in prevention. Really, I mean, I thought my job is to save you money too. My job is to keep you healthy and save you money.
You've never been about money.
You know, I think if healthcare provider and I do my job, then that, and treat people the right way, then that should take care of itself. I shouldn't have to manufacture that, you know, and that's the way I see that's changing a little bit, but.
I believe there's a shift in all medical stuff to sort of
It's
almost manufacture an issue.
yeah. I had this guy, a dental marketer, come in, and he goes, "I just want to talk to you. I can make you more money." I was like, "Yeah, I'm not the guy that you need to be talking to." Well, just come on, just give me a chance, give me. And he was pretty adamant, so I was like, "Okay, we'll do it." And he had this big folder, and he showed me how he took this one dentist and did this, and he was showing how to the average patient, like if you have this many patients, and the money you break in, how much money are you making off of this patient? And he wanted to get that as high as he could. Okay. I mean, that's what he did for this other patient, and he increased it. I said, my goal is to have that as low as I can. He goes, well, what are you talking about? He said, my goal is to fix their teeth and keep them fixed, so all they need is 2 cleanings a year. Okay, that's my job. Not to try to how much money I'm going to make off each person a year. It's how do I make the least amount of money? Then I'm doing my job, and it should take care of itself. And he looked at me like, and I said, I told you I wasn't your guy, but it's just the way the world is now.
You've never been about money,
hard.
have you?
I hope not. I don't want to be hypocritical, but I hope. I mean, I want as much money, as I can get. I think everybody wishes they had a little bit more money.
I don't know. You never have
And
seemed to be after the
didn't want
money to me.
I just didn't want it to. I didn't want to be controlled by it. Yeah.
Let me ask you this: you golf much? That's your hobby, right?
Yeah, more
But
now.
didn't you weren't you golfing for a while? But you got you got a crick in your neck or something.
I had neck surgery, so I had the bolts in the neck. So I quit for about 10 years. And I couldn't turn.
Didn't me and you and Lyle go out to Hampton Creek?
I think so.
Maybe
yeah,
twice.
We did. Yeah, I think so. When you were building my house, you built a house for me down there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we went down there.
Boy, that was a packed subdivision, wasn't it?
Yeah. And then now they have. But I was one of the first houses right
Oh,
through
it's
there.
like they weren't even there yet.
Yeah. Yeah, it was. Yeah, I was, and it was nice because it was right there in the golf course.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
It's better living in Cleveland, isn't it?
Yeah, I do like it. That was the worst neighborhood I ever lived in. I mean, that was, I don't know. I guess that was, maybe I want to upper end gate.
It was like chaos or something.
Yeah, the people just were not, the quality of people were poor. What happened is that at the golf course, there wasn't enough people to live there to maintain the golf course. So most of the members didn't live there. And then I can remember how, and that's who I played with on Saturday and Sunday. They was the choose up. And it's like the people that lived there, they didn't like the choose up guys. Well, I was one of the choose up guys. So they would always like, hey, choose up guy. I mean, just so rude and
crazy
and hateful. And I'm just like, and then one day they'd had great Friday night dinners. It was like J. Alexander's. Great Friday night dinners. And then some of the retired people there, they didn't like it that kids were there. So they were harassing me one night, and we have certain standards for kids. And I was like, really? And hey, choose up guy, whatever. And so I said, I looked at one guy there, and I said, so let me ask you this: were you? I said, what were you, a school teacher? Because I went up to get drinks. He came up to harass me. I said, so what were you, a school teacher? He goes, no, I was board education. I said, oh, so did you never owned your own business? And he said, he goes, no. I said, you sign your own paycheck? He goes, no. I said, then you may not be qualified to make business decisions. Because I'm like, you run all those kids out of there. I mean, that was half.
Oh, yeah. All those people there had kids.
Yeah, because they had a room for kids and a television, and then they had the restaurant area. And I'm like, half the people here are having a nice dinner, while their kids are over there. But I guess these people didn't like it that the kids were even there. Sometimes they'd come in here. But I guess they just wanted to own it for them place. But I was like, you run these, you're not going to have it. So I went up there again to get something. And so he brings his buddy over, he's just, this huge guy. And he comes up to me, he goes, I own my own business. I own my business. And I looked at him. No, he said, I signed my paycheck. I said, and I'm like, what? Why is he telling me he signed his paycheck? I never said a damn word to him. And he wants me to know he signs his paycheck. And I was like, oh, you sign your own pay? Yeah. I said, is it your company's paycheck or your own paycheck? He said, well, it's my company's paycheck, but I sign it. I said, oh, so you don't own the business then? You don't own the business. He goes, well, I used to own my own business. And I looked at him and I go, well, if you were good at it, you may still have it. I guess, and they kicked me out. I got kicked out. So he got together with them. And
You're obviously not a conformist, right?
They sent this thing or whatever, and I'm supposed to, So somebody spilled something on the table. Well, there was an old bread bag. Nobody was doing it. So I pulled the napkin out of the bread bag. Okay, out of the bread bag. And I went and cleaned the water up.
Yeah.
And then he said, well, he threw bread. And I'm like, I never threw any bread. That was like this. And I was like, okay, I'm not going to fight y'all. And so they kicked me out. And then guess what happened a little bit after that?
Didn't they go out?
No more Friday dinners.
Yeah.
And then those guys in the Choose Up, the guys that worked there, one after another left. They ran all those guys out of there.
It just didn't work.
I mean, it's just these people that just it's evil. It was evil. I mean, there were some great guys in that Choose Up. We'd have 40 people sometimes. You got 40 people paying for meals and paying for, that's a lot of money. If I owned a golf course, hey, you 40 come
It was the whole subdivision at the time.
Yeah, here's a few sausage biscuits for everybody today. I would cater to them. You didn't have 40 people that lived there that were golfing that day. It was a Choose Up guy. And they just, for some reason, they thought they were better than these guys. And then a couple of those Choose Up guys, they said, oh, you're inside the gate. And then I realized what they were saying was they had this people that lived inside the gate and people lived outside the gate. So there was, which was pathetic, but that was the worst neighborhood. The quality of the people that lived there just, wasn't,
Do you have all the business you can take, or do you need more?
Yeah, well, we're busy every day. You can always take more.
What address is it?
It's what is my address?
I don't even know what.
Is it 1045 Peerless Crossing? I may have to call Randy and that. I may have to. Yeah, 1045. Yeah, Peerless Crossing.
I love you, man.
Love you too. Love you.
Thanks.